My mom said, since you refused to buy me a house, I took out a loan in your name. I was shocked, until the bank called and said, actually, that's fraud. My mom's confident face quickly turned to fear. I always knew my mom used manipulation, guilt, and tantrums to get what she wanted, but I never imagined she'd go this far. It all started when I finally got my life together. In my 20s, I struggled with student loans and had to work 2 jobs just to survive, but I worked hard, paid off my debts, and at 33, I was finally in a good financial place with a decent job and some savings. And that's when she made her move. She had always talked about wanting a big house with a garden and a 2-car garage. One night, she said, I gave you life, so the least you can do is give me a house. I laughed, thinking she was joking. But she wasn't. She tried everything, crying, telling me how she sacrificed for me, and making comments about how other kids bought houses for their parents, but I stuck to my decision. Mom, I can't afford to buy you a house, I told her. She got really angry, called me selfish, and said I was forgetting where I came from, but I didn't give in. I thought that was the end of it. But I was wrong. One day at work, I got a call from the bank. They told me a mortgage loan for $320,000 had been approved in my name. I was confused and told them it was a mistake, but they had all my details, and it was definitely in my name. I knew exactly who had done it. I drove straight to my mom's apartment, not calling or texting her. When I got there, she was casually drinking tea like nothing was wrong. We need to talk, I said. She looked up, unfazed. What's with the attitude? I asked her if she took out the mortgage in my name. She smirked and said, well, I wouldn't have had to if you had just bought me a house like a good son. I was stunned. You stole my identity? She shrugged. It's not stealing. I'm your mother. What's yours is mine. You'll be fine, you make good money. I couldn't believe it. She acted like it was no big deal. The house is in both our names. It's a good investment. You should be thanking me. I just left, trying not to say something I'd regret. For the next 24 hours, I was in shock, making calls and trying to figure out how she did this. It turns out she had access to my social security number from when I was a kid. She forged my signature, lied to the bank, and now I was stuck with a $320,000 mortgage. I never signed up for any of this, but then, a miracle happened. The bank called me again the next day, and this time, their tone was different. Mr. Carter, we've looked into your case, and it seems this loan was taken out fraudulently. I froze. What does that mean? It means it's identity theft, and we're going to take legal action. I wasn't sure whether to feel relieved or scared. On one hand, I wouldn't have to pay the mortgage. On the other, my mom was about to get in big trouble. When I told my mom what the bank said, that smug look on her face disappeared. For the first time, I saw fear. She had no excuses, no comebacks, just wide, panicked eyes staring at me. She tried to brush it off, saying, they won't do anything, you'll just tell them it was a misunderstanding. But I was firm. It's fraud, it's a felony, they're pressing charges. The color drained from her face, and panic took over. She jumped up and started pacing around, mumbling, no, 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 I'll lose the house, I'll lose everything. Why did you call the bank? I actually laughed at how crazy she sounded. What was I thinking? Mom, what were you thinking when you stole my identity? You've ruined your own life, not mine. That's when she started crying. She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing, I just wanted a real home. I've worked so hard. I gave you everything. And you? I interrupted. Don't even try to guilt me. You knew what you were doing. She kept crying, but I was done. I walked out, slamming the door behind me. The next few days were a mess. The bank launched a full investigation, and a fraud case was opened. My mom's name was flagged, and things got worse. She started calling me nonstop, first begging, then getting angry, and finally threatening me. If I go down, I'll make sure you suffer too. I'll say you helped me. That made me nervous, so I blocked her number, but she didn't stop. Then, a week later, I got a call from a detective. Mr. Carter, we need you to come in for questioning. I was confused and nervous, but I went. The detective showed me some documents with a signature, except it wasn't mine. It was forged. Your mom says you were involved, the detective told me. She claims you both applied for the loan together, but now you're trying to blame her. I felt ice in my veins. She was trying to frame me. I wasn't surprised. A part of me always knew she could be this selfish. She's lying, I told the detective, keeping my cool. I had no idea about any of this until the bank called. The detective nodded. We figured that out. Your boss confirmed you were at work when the paperwork was signed, and the handwriting is being checked. I let out a deep breath. At least I wasn't in this alone. But still, the shock hit me hard. My own mom tried to pin her crime on me. I thought it was over for her, but I was wrong. I got another call. She's gone, the detective said. My mom had skipped town. She took all her money and disappeared. No calls, no notes, nothing, just gone. The bank canceled the loan, so I wasn't legally responsible, but my credit was ruined. For weeks, I worked hard to fix the mess and explain to everyone why my own mother was now a fugitive. But the worst part? Deep down, I knew she would return, and when she did, I'd be ready. The waiting game. For weeks, I waited for more trouble. My mom was missing, the fraud case was still open, and I spent every spare minute fixing the financial disaster she left behind. Life had to go on. The calls from the bank stopped. The detective told me there was an active arrest warrant for her, but she was off the radar. It was like she had vanished completely. I should have felt relieved, but I knew she wasn't done. The first sign. It began with small things. A few weeks later, I received an alert from my credit monitoring service. A new credit card application had been made in my name. I called the company immediately. They canceled the application and flagged it as fraud. It was clear that someone with my social security number was trying to use my identity. I had already frozen my credit after the mortgage fiasco, but somehow, she was still trying. I called the detective. She's desperate, he said. She'll make a mistake. I wanted to believe him. Then, the second sign came. The letter. One day, I found a FedEx envelope on my doorstep. There was no return address, just my name on it. Inside was a handwritten letter. You ruined my life, but don't think you've won. Blood is blood, you'll regret this. No name, no signature, but I knew it was her. I called the police. They took the letter but said there wasn't much they could do. It's not a direct threat, they explained, just a warning. I started locking my doors twice and checked my security cameras every night. Then one morning, something made my blood run cold. The nightmare outside my window. I was getting ready for work when I looked out my bedroom window and froze. Across the street, a dark blue, beat-up sedan with tinted windows sat in the shadows. I stared at it, my heart pounding. Was it her? I watched for 5 minutes, but the car never moved. I grabbed my phone, stepped onto the porch, and took a picture. As soon as I did, the car sped off. I called the detective. It was probably her, he said, but without proof. There's nothing we can do. She's watching you, he warned. Be careful. That was the last straw. The trap. I hired a private investigator and gave him everything I knew about her, old addresses, habits, and even the names of a few family members. Within a week, he found her. She was in Las Vegas, living under a fake name, working under the table at a small diner. She had cut her hair and changed her look, but not enough to hide. I sent all the information to the detective. They worked with the Las Vegas police, and 2 days later, she was arrested. The final betrayal. But the story didn't end there. After her arrest, the detective called me again. She's making a deal, he said, and you're not going to like it. I felt sick. What deal? She's claiming she wasn't the mastermind. She says someone forced her into the fraud. I laughed. She's lying. I know, he replied, but the person she's blaming, she's trying to pin it on you. I went numb. She says you planned the whole thing, that you told her to take the loan, that she was just following orders. It was insane. But don't worry, he added, we don't believe her. There's no evidence. It's just a desperate attempt to save herself. It hurt deeply. She could have taken responsibility, but she tried one last time to ruin me. Final words. In the end, her lies didn't work. She was sentenced to 5 years for fraud, identity theft, and forgery. The judge denied bail because she had already fled once. I thought I'd feel relief or closure. But mostly, I felt empty. She wasn't my mother anymore, just a stranger in an orange jumpsuit. As I left the courtroom, I made a promise to myself, she would never hurt me again. Even after her sentence, I couldn't shake the feeling that she might try to mess up my life once more. 5 years in prison wasn't forever. Knowing her, she'd probably come out thinking she was still the victim. I needed to make sure that when she got out, she had nothing, no power, no money, And no way to ruin my life again. Destroying what she loved most. For years, my mom was obsessed with owning a house. Even after everything, that house was still in her name. The fraud had cancelled the mortgage, but she managed to keep the property using legal loopholes while awaiting trial. She thought that when she got out, the house would be hers. She was wrong. I worked with the bank and the legal system to repossess the house. Every bit of financial damage she caused was forced back on her. Credit? Ruined. Assets? Seized. Savings? Gone. By the time she got out of prison, she wouldn't even have a couch to sleep on. But I wasn't finished. Cutting off her escape, I made sure everyone knew what she had done. Her few remaining friends? Gone. Relatives who still supported her? I sent them the court records. Even her old landlord, I informed them about her fraud. By the time she got out of prison, she had nowhere to go. No home. No money. No one left to manipulate. Just the cold, hard truth that she had ruined her own life. The last conversation. 5 years passed faster than I expected. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more great stories. Don't forget to tap the notification bell, so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments, we love hearing from you. See you next time, and take care.